Cody, I guess from your perspective, I know not the results y'all wanted, but just what's the message going forward, especially from a veteran like yourself to the rest of the team?
The message going forward is I've been a part of two teams that have gone to Omaha, and there's always a time of the year where you kind of get humbled, and you can take that in two ways. And in the past, we've used it to move forward, and I have no doubt that we'll do that. No doubt.
In terms of what Mason was able to do, I know he had the two early mistakes, but after that, it seemed like he kind of settled in a little bit. I guess, did you feel like maybe y'all had a chance at that point, or I guess what kind of changed in that seventh?
Yeah, we absolutely feel like every time he stepped on the rubber, he's given us a chance, and us hitters didn't really give him a chance today. Wind's blowing out 20 miles an hour. Two runs, three solo shots, whatever it was. That's nothing. We've come back from worse, and he did everything he could to give us a chance. It's definitely not on him. Definitely not.
We'll go next to Eric.
Cody, Carlos mentioned you being one of those veterans. You've got a couple of those guys on those teams who have kind of been here, done that. Do you feel like after a stretch where you struggle a little bit, you guys need to speak up, or are you guys a team where you guys kind of just are aware and just kind of put the nose to the ground and keep going?
I think, there's definitely people that are vocal in that locker room, and but it's never out of line, if that makes sense, where we're trying to point fingers or anything, but it's mostly just because we're all pretty frustrated and pissed off, and we have high expectations, and I don't care. No one cares about the injuries. That's not an excuse. Like, we're a good ball club, and we haven't been proving that.
Okay, we'll go to Keith.
Cody, what were you guys seeing from Helton today out there that he was so effective?
I mean, those Baylor staff pitched well, but I think a lot of it was just us. I can speak on behalf of myself for sure that it's just not sticking to what makes me, if that makes sense. And I think we had a little bit of that, and you don't have to do anything that, that's not becoming of you. Like, I don't need to hit the ball out of the park. And sometimes my approach showed that that's what I was trying to do. And we really didn't at times stick to a plan and what makes us go, what our lineup makes us go and turn over.
All right, anything else for Cody? We'll go to Ronald.
You touched on it a little bit early on, but what does it mean for this team to sort of, bounce back and go into the next one? Obviously, you guys have sort of a one-off against New Mexico before you get back into Big 12 play, but what does it look like for this team to bounce back?
I think that starts tomorrow. Preparing. A lot of times this game's given us some success, and it'll make you think like you got it figured out, and you'll get humbled real quick. And for sure, that's what happened today. And just start with preparing. We got four weeks left of conference, and we need to keep getting better every week.
Coach, I know Mason had at least a pretty decent line, minus the three mistakes he gave up. I guess, how'd you feel about his performance and just the way maybe the offense maybe didn't kind of help him out a little bit later on in that contest?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't give him much margin for error, did we? If you said, hey, Mason's going to give up three solos or four, whatever it was, on a day like today, you'd probably take it and go, hey, let's go score some runs. I thought he threw the ball very effective. I think all those balls were hit well. I'm not saying they were wind dated or anything. I think all those guys put really good at-bats together. I think Baylor's lineup's really good. I think they do a really good job of putting good at-bats together, and I thought Blake Helton was really good today.
I know baseball is a game where you kind of learn to deal with failure at times. Do you kind of feel like this is a series that you can kind of learn from, or at least the players can learn from, in terms of there won't be success all the time, but you kind of have to deal with that adversity now going forward?
I think it's really hard to, it's really hard probably to get these guys to look back and reflect until something like this happens. And what you hope is when you lose a series and that they do understand, try to figure out exactly who they are individually and as a team. And, but again, it's got nothing to do with today's game. I mean, that's moving forward. Really, Baylor was really good today. I mean, that would be the story today for me.
Okay, we'll go to Eric.
Coach, looking forward a little bit, I guess, to this midweek game against New Mexico. In terms of when you're so familiar with a team, in terms of you guys play them seemingly every year, do you lean on that? Do you kind of expect them to have a little wrinkle, or is it just expecting it to just be, the New Mexico team you're kind of used to seeing?
Since you asked, really looking forward to it. Coach Birmingham's announced his retirement. Guy's done awful lot for college baseball in this area in New Mexico, and his team probably hadn't played as many games as most teams. We looked at it, last week, and I think they were COVIDed out at one time. I think they ended up going to Washington this weekend. And we didn't play them last year. So to my knowledge, did we? I don't believe we did. I don't think we got to that point in the schedule. And so they've got a different team. They brought a bunch of new guys in last year. And so it'll be good to see our friend Ray, and wish him the best as far as moving forward. And again, he's been around a long time and known him a long time.
We'll go to Ronald.
Coach, what was sort of your message to the team after this one? Obviously, you touched on it a little bit there, but what's your message, going forward and basically closing out this season?
Ronald, it's probably longer than you really want to hear. I probably talk too much. I'm kind of come from a much rather do it than talk about it. At the same time, what we talk about in that locker room is between us and the guys. I'll share this with you. I mean, I do think it was a time to reflect a little bit, even though it's probably a little soon for most of them. You're talking about 30 minutes after a game. And sometimes that's not the right time. And but we got some good leaders in there, and guys will show up on Tuesday.
I know you touched on it a little bit earlier this season, obviously, that, dipping back and forth between conference play and playing some of these non-conference. It sounds like you're obviously looking forward to playing New Mexico, but is this game in a way, does that sort of help you guys coming off of, this tough series?
Well, I think baseball, anytime you can play, it's going to help you, whether it's a tough series or a good series. I mean, I think the ability to go play and see pitches and to play the game, and also just to give guys an opportunity. I mean, obviously that's something that will happen, I'm sure. And I mean, there's nothing really that's set in stone. And so you want guys to keep competing. And it's a time of year where guys should be feeling good about playing. And so looking forward to that.
And last question for me, obviously you guys want to continue to get better every chance you get, but at this point in the season, are you feeling that urgency that you need to feel from this team?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I think they got a sense of urgency. I do think this team's been through quite a bit. And we're by no means going to use that as any type of excuse, but it's the reality of it is we're still evolving. And I mean, we pretty much, I guess this is the second weekend we ran that rotation out there for a weekend. And it's probably the second weekend we've had We didn't have Baker up until last weekend. And, you got guys sitting over there that are chomping at the bit to get in there. And so what you hope is that guys will do their best, prepare, and take advantage of those opportunities when they get them.